Uh, uh, I like that one. Hello, world. Welcome. You are now tuned in to the live premiere of episode 6 of Art of the Matter. This is a show about, for, and by artists that seeks to highlight the state of arts and culture from the artist's perspective. I am your host, TDUB. Thank you for joining us for our live premiere show right here at Converge Media, where Black media matters. All right, let's get into it. The first thing we're going to do, let's go ahead and catch this drip right quick. Get that wide something. I appreciate you, sir. We out here. It's like here's the thing. Like if you're from Seattle, there's certain brands that you just have to have in your repertoire. You got to have some Wolf Deluxe. You got to have some Alive and Well. You got to have some Back CEO. You got to have some Paradise Avenue South. And that's what we're rocking tonight. So shout out to Harry, shout out to Ari, all the folks at Paradise Avenue South. Keep dropping the drip. You guys are really representing Seattle in a real way. I appreciate you. Obviously, I got like 99 pieces of Paradise. Every time they drop something, I just have to have it. So shouts out to y'all. So that's what we're rocking today. Yeah, so we're here, man. I'm super excited. It's going to be a great show. It's a fun-filled show. We got a lot of super dope guests, including Caela Bailey, Art of the Matter episode 6 featured artist. She is here in studio tonight, as well as my best friend, Brianna Breeze Costin. We're going to be talking about the GSB project that we just got put on as art lead consultants. So we're going to be talking about that in a little bit. But first, let's get into a little bit of art news, if we can. Salman, appreciate you. Yes. So first things first, this Thursday, April 7th, 7 to 9 p.m., Nothing But the Rent fundraiser paint and sip happening at the Link Project. Shout out to Stephanie Morales at the Link Project, doing super dope things for arts and culture in the CD. They have their monthly paint and sip fundraiser. Make sure the network gets paid. Make sure they stay a fixture in the community. So definitely go check that out. Next week, Perry, the second opening of the VMC Gallery for the public opening art walk is happening. Her show release is still on view for the rest of the month of April, so definitely go check that out. April 14th, that's next Thursday, 6 to 9 p.m. VMC Gallery, right there on Pine Street next to Molly Moons. Definitely go check that out, as well as the Drive to Revive. So Blue Cone Studios, which is actually the studio that I was a part of, and still a part of, they are hoping to reach a donation of $10,000 to help them reopen the studio. That is going on now through April 14th. So definitely check in with Blue Cone Studios and how you can help them out. They're doing really dope stuff. And finally, the 2022 project grants for Culture is open now, and the application is available until April 20th. So if you're looking for some art funding, if you're working on a project, definitely go check out For Culture. They got some funds for you. And last but certainly not least, I want to shout out my bro, Creeps, J Battle. He is living his dream. He is actually going to be playing Coachella this year. So Jay is a super, super dope producer, artist, all the things when it comes to music right here from the town. He's going to Coachella this year. He's going to be helping out a featured artist there. So super shout out to Jay Creeps. He does my intro music. He's got a number of beats on all the stuff that I do. Anytime I need a beat, I go to Jay. So shout out to you, bro, on that tip. Yeah. Good stuff. Good Seattle stuff. All right. So I think that's it for opening show. We are now going to take a quick break and we're going to come back. My best friend, Breeze, is in the building. We're going to be talking about art, GSB, all the fun stuff we got going on with that. So stay tuned in. You're watching Art of the Matter.
When COVID first hit, I was very afraid. There was so much things that I had to keep inside because I didn't know where to place my feelings. Most of my information for COVID is from my own research. I'm a doctor in educational leadership, and when the FDA approved Pfizer, it helped me realize that the vaccination is healthy. We don't want to be left behind because we're not taking the vaccine, but we want to get as much information as possible so that we are putting ourselves in better hands and not at great risk.
Hey there, it's Trey Holiday. And of course, Besa and I had to take a trip back to Market Street Shoes to grab some items. They always know what to show us. And let me tell you, we both spent quality time to be sure we collected some amazing additions to our wardrobes. They have some of the most unique bags, shoes, and accessories. I mean, the whole shebang. It's always a good time when I get to shop with my girl Besa. Make sure you go check out Market Street Shoes, y'all, and you too can walk out with some dope gear.
All right, we are back. Art of the Matter live premiere show. I have the super, super dope honor. Best friends since we were 8 years old, and now we get to make art together in the CD. Welcome to the studio, Breeze. How you doing, homie?
I'm doing all right.
Doing good?
I'm doing all right.
Awesome. I'm super glad you're here. I'm super glad we got an opportunity to link up on this project that we're about to do. This is a big deal. So the Garfield Superblock project is something that's been going on for quite a while. They've actually finally gotten some funding and some steam behind it, and now it's back on track to, happen and be an installation in the CD at the Garfield Playfield. And we have been named recently the art lead consultants for this project.
Mm-hmm.
How does that feel? What do you like? Are you excited about it? What's going on? What's going through your mind when you're thinking about this?
Man, I think that the biggest aspect for me is just the fact that it's a 2005 project.
Right.
And that's our class.
Right.
So that's really exciting. And then just that position and my tenure doing art is like short. So for me to be in a position like this is like a big deal. You know what I'm saying?
It's
like,
pretty big deal.
I didn't think that this is what I would be doing 2 years ago. So
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So 2005 was actually when this project, when rethinking the Garfield Playfield actually got introduced into the fold. So the school got remodeled and our class was the last class at the old building. So the school got remodeled, and then the playfield kind of just got left to the side. But now they're at a point where they actually get to make this thing happen, and it's a really big deal. We've just been named again art lead coordinators, consultants. I don't know why I keep wanting to say coordinators.
Me too.
lead art consultants for this project. So it's definitely a huge deal. As Garfield graduates, as Seattle residents is like a really, really big thing. And like you just kind of mentioned, like your career with regard to art is pretty recent. So can you tell us a little bit about how you got how you think you got to where you are right now?
I think that how I got here in a realistic sense is just the want and the drive, the consistency of just wanting to do art and do art. Right. Not for, all these other different reasons, but to just be able to have that expression and that freedom when it comes to doing art. It kind of started unorthodox. So over a lot of people have this like really cool background when it comes in how they got into art.
Right.
I ended up having some free time on my hands, about 45 days worth. And I was like, let me figure out what I want to do. And I've always wanted to paint, but I never wanted to take the time to learn or buy the tools or anything. So that was when I took that leap. And I met with Chris Paul Jordan, thanks to you also hooking us up. And it's been just up from there, you know what I mean?
Boom. Yeah, you've been working on some really, really dope stuff out in Tacoma, obviously from Seattle, but currently residing in Tacoma. You've done some really huge projects there. Design the Hill, the Manny Ellis mural, like so many big things. Your project with the Tacoma Art Museum with the glass sculptures, that was major.
Yes, that was crazy. Actually, just being in that studio space was something else.
Yeah,
I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah.
And shout out to them because that was a really dope experience. If anybody ever thought about making some glass, you should definitely look into it because it's different.
For sure.
It's fun.
Yeah, you've been past couple of years has been crazy for you when it comes to the art, and now bringing it back to the town, bringing it back to the home turf.
I'm glad to be doing something in Seattle finally. And this is just like that really takes it home. You know what I mean?
Right.
We graduated from there. We graduated in 2005, and then it's both of us on this project. This is our neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? So it's just kind of like full circle. You know what I mean? To be able to give back in that way and just show that we're trying to keep Garfield.
Right.
You know what I mean? But still move along with the times in a way that is feasible for us. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah. So there's a lot of really big things that are going to be happening with this GSB project. I'm going to definitely be keeping you up to date because I'm a part of it. So, we'll definitely take the opportunities with the live shows to keep you abreast of what's going on and how that project is developing from our perspective, of course. And yeah, you have any other words? Like, do you have any other hopes or aspirations for what this is going to be? Like, what do you think will happen next? Like, what's next for Breeze?
Next for me, I don't really know. You know what I mean? Like personal projects, I'm just working on things as I feel it come to myself. Like when I'm feeling it, I just do. You know what I mean? But in terms of this project with GSB, like I'm excited to have that newness and it still feel the connection. I don't even know the right words to say that, but when people come, I want that feeling to be like, man, this feels like
Right.
I've been here. This still feels like home. This doesn't feel like I've never been in this neighborhood before. So I'm really excited to like capture that and keep that. And,
Absolutely.
you know, but then still create that. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
I don't want to lose anything. And I'm excited to just be able to bring that into full like picture. For everyone else to get to see the vision and know that, like, nah, this is us.
This is us.
What I'm saying?
We out here, real time.
We're gonna do it, but we're gonna do it. You know,
we're gonna do it. It's like definitely, like we're both super excited about this project. And again, like you said, like being able to create newness, but from our perspective because we are from here. You know, and I think that's the dope thing that we bring to this project, and making sure that this goes off with the right, you know. You know what we mean when we say. Very cool. Yeah, we're definitely going to be tapping in with you some more throughout this project. Probably going to have you come on the show maybe a couple more times. What you think about that?
I'm going to be here.
How you feeling the cameras and the live situation right now? You good?
Cool kicks,
you see it? Let's get the wine. Catch the drink right quick.
So we'll be here. I'm excited to be able to keep you guys up to date also on this project and just let people know what's going on every step of the way if we can.
For sure. Yeah. Appreciate you, Breeze, as always, of course. Thank you for tapping in with us right quick. Yeah, it's gonna be dope. Yeah. So super exciting stuff, as you can see, you know, and yeah, it's gonna be a wild year. I'm very excited for all the stuff that I get to do. GSB, VMC, Art of the Matter. Speaking of which, we have Caela Bailey in studio. We are about to tap in with the gutter queen herself and premiere her episode. Episode 6 is coming up right after this break. You're watching Art of the Matter.
Hey there, it's Trey Holiday. And of course, Besa and I had to take a trip back to Market Street Shoes to grab some items. They always know what to show us. And let me tell you, we both spent quality time to be sure we collected some amazing additions to our wardrobes. They have some of the most unique bags, shoes, and accessories. I mean, the whole shebang. It's always a good time when I get to shop with my girl Besa. Make sure you go check out Market Street Shoes, y'all, and you too can walk out with some dope gear.
My name is Josephine, and I live in Renton, Washington. I am a singer, and I use the arts as a way for me to elaborate on all the concerns of our community. I ended up with COVID, and it impacted my life greatly. I was told sometimes to rest, but resting felt like I would die. I was told to lay down, but laying down flat took my breath away. Even after getting COVID, I still did not want to have anything to do with the vaccination. There was much fear in the African American community, and no one should react out of fear. Before you do anything, pray. And make sure that you're praying to get the answer and not praying to get your answer. Since I received the vaccination, I've been able to breathe. Reconsider asking yourself why you are hesitant, because it wouldn't come up if it didn't need to come out. I'm telling you to stand and make a choice. We'll be all right.
All right, folks, welcome back. Art of the Matter, episode 6 live premiere show. This is a very special one indeed for a number of reasons. The main one being we got the lady herself in studio, Miss Caela Bailey. How you doing, love?
I'm feeling really good.
You feeling really good?
I'm feeling good.
You a little nervous to be on live TV?
You know, they say that nervousness and excitement come from the same place. So I feel like that's where I'm feeling.
Say that then.
Both at the same time.
Say that then. Absolutely. Yeah, man. This is definitely a very special episode. Obviously, I don't know why I say obviously so much. What's obvious? Nothing's obvious.
Not anymore, no.
Yes, but no, this is definitely a very special episode because for those of you who don't know, Caela is my partner of 8 years on and off.
Been through some things.
We've been through some things together. We've definitely, we've been friends for a really long time. We've seen each other through a lot of different versions of ourselves, a lot of different evolutions and growth periods that we've been through together as a couple and just as friends. Like,
Yeah.
so this is definitely a very special. All of them are special, don't get me wrong, but this one is particularly special, and you're going to get to see that in just a second with episode 6. So Caela, how are you feeling about, having done this interview? What do you think is going to happen right now? Because you haven't seen the final
I
yet.
have not seen the final. No.
Yeah.
I think there's something, I mean, it's wild to see your life played out before you, to really condense it into 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And because it's you and I, because we spend, our lives together,
Literally.
like there was no real off switch. I mean, I think the vulnerability was just apparent and inevitable. So, we took it to some places because you're not asking me questions in ways that you don't know, a lot of this about me. So to have you pull some of that, I think feels particularly special. And yeah, it makes me a little nervous because
of course.
I'm an open book anyway. I tend to be a pretty open person, but with you especially, I'm just going to be like, whatever you want to know.
Yeah, definitely. And I think the beauty of this show is that very thing of like seeing yourself from a different perspective. Like I learned things about Caela from this show, which is not something that you would, necessarily think would happen. You think a person, and then you interview them, and you're like, wait, I'm learning some different things about you. So it's definitely like, and again, like we have that rapport, so we talked for hours. So editing this episode was actually quite difficult.
Yeah, sorry,
we have
Brady.
to give a super huge shout out to Brady McAtee, who filmed and edited this episode alongside of us. We all kind of did a team effort with making this thing happen. It was a lot of content, and we were able to narrow it down to this nice little 20-minute situation that you're about to get to witness in just a moment. Are there any last words that you have before people go into what they're about to see?
I think thank you to Converge for all that you do. And I mean, really, congratulations to you on this incredible platform and watching you come into this and it be so natural, and you're just so brilliant, and you're just so brilliant at it. So it's a gift, honestly. I mean, thank you for doing it. And every episode so far has just been amazing, and each one has been completely unique. And to see the way, I mean, we talk about me being vulnerable with you, but every single episode that you've done has created a space that allowed an amazing amount of vulnerability and openness, and you come with such an open heart. So thank you, TDUB.
And the feeling is definitely mutual. Thank you. And I thank everybody who's ever been a part of this show, ever helped out. Like, seriously, this has really been a labor of love, and it's a new art form for me. And I'm so thankful that I get to do this and get to bring these conversations and these perspectives to the world. So now's the time. You ready?
I think I'm ready.
Okay.
I think I'm ready.
Let's get into it. Episode 6, Art of the Matter, is premiering right now.
Family, my circus family, my what I was born into was the royal family of the gutter. That was our name, the Royal Famille du Caniveau, the royal family of the gutter. And my family always taught me that the real royalty is down here. They don't know what they're missing up there.
you for doing this.
I love you. Thank you for doing this.
Yep.
Ready.
Yeah, we're just gonna slide in. Shall I pour you some tea, my love?
I would love it if you could pour me some tea.
Betty, I'm gonna need you to find a spot. Okay.
Cheers. Let's get into it.
To the conversation of the century.
Oh my God.
So, you know, the reason why I wanted to have this conversation with you now is because I have obviously gotten front row seat to your journey over the past few years. Let's go back to the very beginning. Real quick.
Which beginning? Well, my dad always drove giant vans. We were in the van with a lot of their friends, and I was in the back, and I had my headphones in, and I was singing aloud to Mariah Carey. And my dad's friend turned around and was like, take your headphones off. And he's like, if you're gonna sing, you need to learn to sing in tune. And I was like, okay. And that was obviously embarrassing, but also it served me well because I needed to learn to sing in tune.
And now you do.
And now I do.
Yeah.
Watch out, boys, yeah. Here comes the gospel truth, the gospel in between, the gospel truth, the gospel love, the color green, that's the gospel.
But I think I had a lot of experience of getting embarrassed into the things that I've gotten to do.
Right.
There's a million moments every single day that make up our lives, but then there's those certain little sparks that you're like, that changed something,
right.
You know, that shifted something.
Right.
And yeah, that was one of them.
You come from a creative, incredibly creative, artistic, eccentric family.
Yes.
Like, not just your parents, but all of your parents' people
Yes.
were also very much, how do you describe that? How do you describe your
I mean, I think to a lot of people, honestly, to make it easier, I'd say I grew up in the circus, you know? I mean, that was almost the easiest way to describe it because it's so bizarre. It was just so abnormal. It was just so weird. And of course I didn't realize that. Like, I think looking back as a really young kid, it was so magical, you know? I really got to experience magic because everything was dressing up, everything was art, everything was an experience. The interesting thing to me is that for them, they were in their own way rebelling against the status quo. It was really fun until I needed to be cool.
right?
You know? My friend group became so much more than what I had known. At that time, they were busing kids from different neighborhoods to different schools. The CD was Seattle's black neighborhoods, and Washington was right in the heart of that. And it's shocking to me how much that time period affected and shaped and directed my life in a way that was so different from what I had experienced with my family. It was like a big shift because all of a sudden, all art that I was consuming was black art. We got to be in a show together a few years back. It was called Dear White People. Yep. Invited by the one and only Boom Boom LaRue. Yeah, thank you. Boom Boom. Jessica Rosa, thank you so much. In doing that show, she asked me to explore what my relationship was to myself, my culture, to black culture, and things of that nature. And the immense just love that I have for Black culture, it was everything outside of what my family gave to me. It's so interesting because it felt like something I got to find that my parents didn't know about.
Right.
It was something that I was like, this is mine, and it's not.
Yeah.
You know, like, and it's not mine at all.
Yeah.
And so the coming to understanding of that, you know, when we tie into where I am with my art now,
Right.
it shapes. I had to like go so many places, and that was really the beginning of inspecting what I was given as a child, what I was given into this world, and then what my story became.
You had talked about how your parents sort of rejected the status quo.
Yeah.
With the sort of like art that they chose to do. And they came up in traditional spaces, your dad going to art school, your mom being a gymnast and getting a scholarship to go to school to do that art form.
Right.
But they both chose different paths. And
Right.
I know you also had a similar experience, which is so funny because, you know, thinking about like your parents doing that and then you doing kind of the same thing
In my own way.
in your own way, but
Yeah.
even though you were trying to reject that which your parents were trying to show you. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, you gotta rebel against something. I definitely call myself a rebel without a cause because I had, you know, everything that a lot of people would want or you think that you want.
Mm-hmm.
And I've had so many people, especially people whose families really rejected them being artists, whose families really rejected them when it comes to especially more queer-centered art, you know, doing drag, things like that.
Right.
That was so normal for me growing up.
Right.
And my parents loved that. So for people who had parents who had such a hard time with that, people are like, oh my God, it must have been so great for you. It must have been so amazing. And in many ways it was.
Right.
In many ways it was, I really got to explore who I was. But in other ways, they were so well known. They were so established that it felt as though whatever I did was, I mean, I almost want to say in the shadow of what they did, you know, like whatever I was kind of good at, whatever I wanted to do, they were already doing. They had already done.
Right.
Because my family was already doing it, because they were already established in it, I expected myself to just be good at it right away. I wasn't aware of the understanding that you have to get there.
You gotta practice.
Well, you have to practice. You have what it takes to get there. And so that's something that I'm trying to unlearn to this day. I am trying to continuously unlearn that and allow for the space for growth, the space for mistakes, the space for trial and error, and just being bad at something until you're not. Singing, I could sit in my room and practice on my own, and then I could come out and all of a sudden I could do it.
And just wow them.
And then I liked that.
Yeah.
You know?
Definitely.
Because I shifted, I think, in a pretty big way. I think these are these moments that I'm talking about of doing Dear White People, releasing this album, you know, that started to I started to kind of shift my perspective of myself, started to really start thinking about who was I? I eventually did a one-woman show at Triple Door called Who in the World Am I? You know, I started really digging into this idea of who I was.
Right.
And for a number of reasons, you and I decided to end our relationship at a point where we both were burnt. I think we were burnt out from our own circumstances and didn't have a whole lot to give to a relationship, and were very much needing to discover who we were apart from one another.
Absolutely, yeah. And I think it was dope, you know, that obviously that moment wasn't dope, but the fact that we remained friends through that sort of that very, very huge transition for both of us was, you know, something that I will cherish forever.
During that time, I started writing music. I started writing music about our experience, my experience through that situation. It was so huge that there was no other way for me to process it except to write music about it. It was the journey back to music for me, because I've never shared my own voice.
You said something really powerful just now, in that you had never shared your own voice. That's huge.
Yeah.
Given the fact that you've been on stage your entire life.
Yeah.
You are now sharing your story, your words, your song.
Yeah. And everything we've talked about is this long journey back to that.
Right.
It's like you had to go all the way around the world to come back home.
Right.
And that's what it feels like it's been. When I built this altar, I did this. I made this what to me became connection. And it was connection to up above and down below. You know, it was the connection to the cosmos and the earth.
To the artistic parts of the boxes and the art that you're doing currently, there's obviously this very geometric nature to it, but it's also intuitive in a sense that you don't plan these things. They just happen.
Now, in the last just probably few weeks, and as I've started to really finish this one, I've realized that these pieces and what will become the rest of those pieces is actually based on allow. So this is entitled Allow Love. And these are entitled Allow Connection. We've talked a lot about this journey, but we didn't really quite get into how deep the pandemic took me into myself, and how cutting off from everything I had ever done, everything I'd ever known, how much that affected the level to which I started rejecting almost everything in my life. I had to let go of everything. I felt at times like I let go of the connection to you. I let go of the connection to my family. I felt like I let go of everything, and it took me to depths that were scary, that were definitely really weird, and I didn't know how I would come back out of those things. I didn't know what that would look like, and I think I started really pushing away against a lot of things. So to me, to allow that to come back with intention is what I mean by that.
Yeah, and thinking about what the past couple years have been for you, going from being center stage in pretty much every aspect of your life to then, you know, for lack of better words, being forced to sort of like reevaluate, sit back, have several seats, whatever you want to call it.
I had several seats,
you know, and the ways that the world did that to all of us, but it did it to you in a very particular way because of how people know you in the world.
I think everybody's perspective is incredibly important. Actually, accepting that mine was important, allowing my own to be important, you know, and I think there is something to be said about needing external validation, and that you really have to find it within yourself, right? You really have to understand it for yourself. But I will say that there are times when having other people, there's reasons messages come through people as well.
Right.
And when other people call to you to say something, when people say, hey, yes, okay, speak to this, or you specifically, your perspective is important here.
Right.
You can't ignore that either. By many ways, my nurture and my nature is to really be drawn to and love all different kinds of people. Like that feels so natural for me. I am in such awe and like deep appreciation for all different cultures. Like I'm just like, oh my God, what an incredible expanse of humanity. And then all of the shit that's attached to that, that's so horrendous. You don't have one without the other.
Right.
And so in talking about having these conversations with people, like I've then had to also realize that the nurture of society has then instilled things in me that I certainly wish weren't there. Right. Some of these things passed to me, certainly wish was not the case. Okay, how do we talk about that? How do we heal from that? How do I notice that in myself and in the people closest to me and call attention to it and make sure that we're doing our part to heal for everyone. We've always had pretty in-depth and honest and hard conversations around race and the ways in which we are in relationship to one another and the importance of that. I thought I had a tremendous amount of tools. I've had Black elders, and I've been lucky enough to have Black elders in my life since I was young. So I thought I had tools. And when George Floyd happened, a lot of people, you haven't spoken super openly about this, but like you didn't even really speak. I mean, you were so heartbroken, doesn't even do justice to what that feeling is. And I was like, as a white partner, was just like, I know nothing. I don't know how to be here for you in the way that I absolutely thought that I was. I 100% thought that I had those tools. We've talked about this as really this journey is like a conveyor belt, and it's like the more you learn, the more you're willing to understand the truth of what all of this is, no matter how horrendous, no matter how much it forces you to look at yourself in the mirror. You are walking on that treadmill and you can, you keep going. You just you're like, okay, it doesn't necessarily mean it's ending, but if you stop, you start going backwards. And then you have to catch back up.
Right.
So how far back do you want to go?
Right.
And in this evolution of the world, in this understanding that my true core belief is to flip this pyramid that we've created, where we have, whiteness as this top piece of this pyramid, and we can't help but it's cis white men, then cis white straight women, all of these things, and this pyramid that puts so much weight at the bottom. And what does it look like to flip that? All of a sudden it's gonna feel so heavy. I felt that from myself. I felt that from the people around me. I felt that from my white community members, that I don't want that. I don't want that feeling. You got to show up and do right by your people, and do right by yourself, and do right by the earth.
Absolutely.
I think that's it.
There's that.
Somebody put a thing in motion. Somebody made a wheel. Somebody got the fire burning. Somebody made a meal.
Come on, folks. Caela Bailey, The Art of Allowance, episode 6. You just witnessed a fraction of a very, very deep conversation. We talked about a lot of things, a lot of topics in this episode and in this conversation in general.
Yeah.
I can see there's a lot of emotion coming from you in this moment. How are you feeling having seen that?
I mean, it's funny because for a while we were laughing, like so many of the photos that you chose, I had no idea that you had found those or pulled those out. So I was like dying laughing. And then I had forgotten that we went to, the depth that we went to at the end to come into the here and now of the evolution of humanity.
Yeah,
and the necessity of what that means and is going to take. So yeah.
And that's been a huge part of the journey for you,
Absolutely.
obviously, in the past couple of years, but even before that, like you talked about in the episode, Dear White People was a huge opportunity for you to actually really self-reflect on what you had been given in this life from your parents, from school, from the world, and what you chose to, make a part of you from that. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's just like,
yeah. Doing that particular show and examining myself in that way was something that I hadn't done. I of course, you've of course analyzed your life and things, but to do that and then to understand that you're then going to present that in front of people, and particularly in that case, that's being presented in front of a predominantly Black audience.
Right.
You want to choose your words wisely. You want to make sure that what you're trying to say is that you're able to say it in that way. And so, oh man, I was at her house like crying, like I can't do this. This is terrifying. And she was like, "You're doing it."
Right. Yeah.
But because of that, it has now it allows me to speak in a much more honest and understanding way of, particularly when we discuss, appropriation and things like that. I think there's we're in a different world. Like,
yeah.
I don't know if you actually put up the one picture, but there's the one picture where I have braids. Like I learned how to braid when I was younger.
We didn't do that one, but
okay, now it would never happen. But and that's also something that now, like, there's a picture was that the Seattle Times of me braiding your hair. And I had the opportunity to braid a friend's mom's hair the other day, and somebody her friends were like, "You're gonna let a white girl braid your hair?"
She's that good, folks. She's that good.
And she was like, "Yes." But it's being the awareness of what that the depth and the weight that holds, and I don't take that lightly,
Absolutely.
So
absolutely.
So being in a situation where you and I were able to talk about that in an honest way, and they, it's vulnerable for us both.
Definitely.
Takia, would you like to talk about that at all?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, again, like this is one of those ones, like this person, this human knows me in a way that no one else does.
I was with her before she was performing.
Yeah.
Which is pretty crazy, because now I think a lot of people know you as being on stage and things, but we were actually together before that really
real talk
happened.
Yeah, for sure. Like we've known each other through a lot of stuff, and talking about the fact that we're in an interracial same-sex relationship. There's a lot of intersections that come with that being a thing, and there's a lot of things that we have to face that's not necessarily blatant, but we have to have conversations to make sure that we are taking care of one another in the ways that we need to, and we're not in some weird fantasy land about who we are and what we represent. We have these conversations, and the situation with George Floyd that happened, obviously we had to have a lot of conversations around that. It was a very, very intense moment in a number of ways for us. And, it didn't make the episode, but in that time, we were trying to figure out like what, because I was a wreck. I was a wreck.
Yeah.
And I, like you said, I couldn't speak. I couldn't talk to it. I couldn't speak to it. I was just like, I don't know what to do. You pulled out a puzzle.
Yeah, and
She
you were
found a
like, I'm not doing a puzzle. I do not care.
She found a puzzle, and we would sit, you know, on a nightly basis. We'd have dinner. We'd sit at the table, and we would do this puzzle, and we would have these very, very intense conversations, and there were no holds barred.
Mm-hmm.
Like we didn't mix words. Like it was very, very like radical honesty.
Mm-hmm.
And I think in that time we were able to really trust and take care of one another in a way that is beneficial forever,
Absolutely.
you know.
And it was from there that you started to say, when you were like, okay, I think I'm ready to do something. Like I can't sit here anymore. This puzzle is done now. The damn puzzle is done. What am I going to do? And I remember that day you went to go meet with Joey, and you were like, all right, we're going to do a mural.
Yeah.
And the next day we went and did that
There's
mural.
a lot, yeah, there's a lot of symbolism in that, but definitely, yeah,
Yeah.
it led to something incredibly impactful, you know, and here we are. But in the episode, you talked about in the very beginning getting embarrassed into the things that you get to do. Like
Yeah,
that
shout out to my dad who is watching right now. He
Yes.
was truly the king of embarrassing me and most of us around him. He doesn't have that. I feel like there's like, you know, there's something in your brain that tells you to be embarrassed. He does not have that thing.
Mhm.
And so he was not afraid to embarrass me in turn.
Yes. But I think there's something beautiful about that, and what you said is like not having that connection to embarrassment that allows you to have conversations about really deep things when it comes to race, when it comes to sexual orientation, presentation, preference, all these things. Like there's that moment of like, so most people have that moment of like, I'm embarrassed, I don't want to do it.
Mhm.
Whereas you're like, I might be a little embarrassed, but I'm going to go into it anyway, you know? And I think there's something very, very special about that. I think that's the thing that sets you apart from most people. And also probably why so many people come to you in these times of trying to figure out how to be in the world. So shouts out to RB for being a real one. Okay. And Kathy. Thank you, Kathy.
Yeah.
You made an amazing person. So thank you guys
Mom
for
and
that.
Dad.
Yes.
Speaking of parents and amazing parents,
We're gonna get to that.
Okay,
Hold
okay,
on,
okay,
don't
okay,
worry,
okay,
don't worry,
okay.
don't worry.
Sorry, I
We got
won't
that, we
jump the
got
gun.
that,
I
we
won't
got
jump
that.
the gun.
Yes,
Okay.
let's recap this episode. One of the other things I want to talk about too is like when we filmed this. So let's just go back behind the scenes real quick. We filmed this episode. We were at our apartment. Also, somebody asked in the comments, was that footage from Oregon Country Fair? Yes, it was. Her family is really huge. The DeCanova family is obviously very huge in the Oregon Country Fair scene. So yes, that's correct. Good job.
Correct.
Yes. But that day was a very interesting day because, well, for one, we're set to shoot, right? And Brady, you know, he lives kind of far. We have to like really plan out these days to make sure we shoot these episodes. For whatever reason, my allergies decided to go triple OD. So you don't notice it too much in the episode, but the entire time we were filming, I was like pouring mucus from my face.
You looked like a commercial
It
for
was
allergy
so-
medication.
it
You were
was
like
so bad.
red nose. Your eyes were just watering. I was like,
Yeah.
I don't know if we should do this
Yeah.
today.
We
You were
did.
hurt. So shout out to you because you pushed. You were like, the show must go on. We are doing this no matter what.
Yes.
And you pulled through, and you
I
were
had to.
you were in pain that day. That was
It was real bad. So,
was
you know, behind the scenes are the matter. These are the things that we go through to bring you amazing art.
Yes.
But yeah, like again, the show must go on. And it's like, you know, I think for you in thinking about, you know, the art of allowance and allowing yourself to go on, you know, given all the moments of rebellion, the moments of rejection, the moments of self-reflection that you've had throughout your life and through your journey, as not only as a person but also as an artist, you know, I think, you know, that's a real testament to just who you are as a person. Like,
Well, before we got here, us and Takia's best friend Breeze, who's still in the room, we were talking about how everybody's journey to art is so different. You can't, I think we have this sort of stereotypical idea of it, but it's just not the case. Like
Right.
everybody has their reasons as to why that something calls to them. And yeah, I don't know if it made it in the episode, but how that shows up. If you're an artist, it's going to show up.
Right.
So the fact that for me, it was music
Yeah.
for so long, hosting for so long, and I am not a painter. Like it's not how art has ever taken form for me. But for some reason, the way in which I was able to take an idea and just have it go from my brain through my hand was just so helpful for me, because doing music and performing, you need so many other people. There's so many steps, and there's so many ways people have to interpret what you want, what you're asking for, what your idea is. And so to be able to just do it felt so good. And I do believe that that's, it's also leading me back to my other art forms, just being able to do that. So
yeah. And I think that's, again, one of the reasons why I wanted to have this. The reason why we had to do this episode when we did it, mucus or not, is because of just where Caela is in her journey, being known as a performer, being known as a host, being known on the burlesque scene and all of these scenes. The pandemic took you to a place where you had to stop all of that. You had to figure out how to reconnect to your art, and you did that through a different art form. So I just wanted to make sure that was highlighted, because it just speaks to the power of creativity. It speaks to the power of art. It doesn't matter what you do, creativity will bring you back to yourself, and people, like, the whole reason why I want to do this show is to help people understand that, to help people reconnect to their creativity, because it doesn't matter what your profession is. You have to be creative in some way, shape, or form. And if you're not realizing that, then that's not showing up in other avenues of your life as well. And we need it everywhere. We need it in all forms. We need it in all sections and sectors of human society. We just need this. So I just wanted to make sure that, we highlighted that with you,
but it's the truth for everyone.
Yeah.
It's really the truth for everybody.
Absolutely.
Because art really does heal. It connects us to everything. It is the way in which we're able to reflect the world around us.
Definitely.
And something that you've talked about so much is that during the pandemic, artists have been able to thrive because you get called to reflect the times.
Right.
And you have done that particularly in so many incredible ways. But when you walk around this city, and we've gotten to travel a little bit to other cities and other places, you see that it is the artists who are reflecting the times.
Absolutely.
When downtown is shut down,
who you gonna call?
Not the Ghostbusters.
Let's talk about it. But it's real, you know what I mean? Like, and again, the whole point of this show is, like, from the artist perspective, what's happening right now with pandemics and global catastrophe, like, we're all in a space of reflection. We all need to reflect on how to reconnect to ourselves, and creativity is the way that it's done. That's why you see so many artists. That's why you see so many murals. That's why you see so much public art happening in so many different places. It's because it's necessary. So make sure that you are tapping in with the artists in your neighborhood. Make sure you're tapping in with the artists in your city, because their perspective is important right now. And that's why Art of the Matter is here and here to stay. So given the fact that we were dropping bars sometimes, but given the fact that you have had this moment of reflection and reconnection to your art, and you're making new music, tell us about that. Is that a secret? It's not a secret.
It's not really a secret.
Yeah.
It feels like it's just starting to emerge. It's being called. No matter how much I keep trying, I'm like, ooh, actually, this hiding away thing is kind of nice. It's very seductive to be in the shadows. But when you get called back out into the light, you have to follow that calling. So I do think that's the case. And coming back to music, you feel that magnet. It's slowly, it's pulling you. So I'm working on it, and I'm working on it with some amazing Seattle producers. We'll reveal as time goes on.
Can't give them everything. But
Yeah.
definitely look out. Gospel of the Gutter Queen album is available right now where all music is sold and streamed and digitized. Go ahead and check that out. So it's a couple of the songs were in the episode. It's an amazing album. It's like super, super dope. Make sure you go check it out. And definitely keep tabs on what Caela Bailey's got going on, because she's got some new stuff coming in the works. So definitely tap in with her. Thank you, Caela Bailey, for being here with us this evening.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Takia Taqueets TDUB Customs.
Art of the Matter, VMC. Yeah, I got all the
that list is
taglines.
growing. You have some taglines. This is crazy. You guys, she used to be so quiet. Was she not? She was so
Brianna
quiet.
said it. Take me out of it.
And so to see you just finding your voice through all the ways that you are, it's amazing.
I appreciate
So
that.
I'm used to live theater, so this would be the moment where I'd say give Takia a round of applause, but we'll just do it for ourselves.
Yes. And so at this moment, I want to make sure that we are tapping in with all of you that are watching the show. I said we got a nice little chunk of viewers in there. So I appreciate y'all once again for tuning in with us. You can comment, and share the show. Make sure that you are telling your friends about Art of the Matter. And when you watch live, you get to comment and ask questions to us while we're here. It's pretty dope, right? So make sure you get those questions there. We're going to take a quick little break. And we'll be right back with more Art of the Matter.
I did it for the city, I did it for the love, I did it for the people, I did it for us.
These hands bear fruit and witness through muscle and memory to that which cannot be taught. Passing down the blueprint of flowers and wringing waters from the root, bringing nourishment to the masses. There is no grade that can attain the heat that we sustain. A path unclear to most, and still we press on. We flip survival into revival again and again. Be reminded of where you come from, for life is the foundation of every generation. All right, folks, before we head out of here, I wanted to make sure that we tapped in with everybody in the comments. Thank you, RB, for tuning in. Michael Rhodes, we see you. Mom Dukes, we see you. G Prez, Mike Sylvester, appreciate you, bro. Everybody who's in the comments, everybody who's asking questions. Irene Torres, I saw you were in the building. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. But before we go for our final moment, I have to give a special shout out to my mama, Mama TDUB. It is her birthday. Saman, you got that overlay for us? Yeah, look at my mama, y'all. The number one lady, the number one most thoughtful, most supportive human being that I have ever known. She is the reason I'm here, and not just in physical, but literally. Like my art, everything that I do for her. So we got everybody here to wish Mama TDUB a happy birthday. Love you so much, Mama. I appreciate you. I appreciate everything that you've ever done for me and will continue to do because I know you. So yes, that has been Art of the Matter episode 6 live premiere show. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Tune in Monday after next, April 18th for episode 7. Until then, I have been TDUB. Stay creative. Peace.
Converge Media produces culturally relevant content for Black and urban audiences. Our coverage is raw, transparent, and objective, praised by community leaders, government officials, and residents. Support Converge Media today via Venmo, Cash App, or PayPal at Converge Media.